Herodotus, the revered father of history, emerged from the 5th century BC as a chronicler unlike any before him. His monumental work, the Histories, stands as a foundational text, weaving together narratives of ancient civilizations. For 8 years, he traversed the ancient world, journeying through Greece, Persia, Egypt, and Babylon. Born in Halicarnassus, a Greek city then under Persian dominion, Herodotus possessed a unique perspective. His travels and observations fueled a profound curiosity about the origins of the Greco-Persian conflict. He sought to understand the hostilities not from a single viewpoint, but through the diverse lenses of the peoples involved. The Persians, as Herodotus recounts, traced the conflict's genesis to ancient Phoenician acts. They spoke of the abduction of Io, a princess, which then escalated into a cycle of retaliatory kidnappings. Europa and Media were taken in turn, each act deepening the historical grievance. This long-standing animosity, in the Persian view, culminated in the legendary Trojan War, sparked by Paris and Helen. Herodotus, however, approached these narratives with a critical eye. He did not uncritically accept any single account, instead seeking alternative explanations and multiple viewpoints. He proposed Croesus, the powerful king of Lydia, as the first non-Greek aggressor against the freedom of the Greek cities. The Mermnad dynasty, to which Croesus belonged, began with a tale of betrayal and prophecy. King Candaules, infatuated with his wife's beauty, insisted his bodyguard Gyges witness her nakedness. The queen, discovering this humiliation, presented Gyges with a stark choice: kill Candaules or die himself. Gyges chose to kill the king, seizing the throne and establishing the Mermnad line. The Oracle of Delphi, however, foretold a grim future, declaring that Candaules' revenge would come in the 4th generation. Croesus, the last king of Lydia, inherited this legacy and became renowned for his immense wealth. He conquered the Ionian and Aeolian cities along the coast, compelling them to pay tribute. Croesus also sought to forge alliances with the Greeks of the Aegean Islands, extending his influence. His reign brought him into contact with the Athenian sage Solon, an encounter that would profoundly shape his understanding of life. Solon, when asked about happiness, offered a definition rooted in a life well lived and a good death. He cited figures like Tellus and Cleobus and Biton as examples of true felicity. Croesus, surrounded by his riches, initially dismissed Solon's wisdom, believing his own prosperity was the ultimate measure of happiness. A prophetic dream then troubled Croesus, foretelling his son Aedes' death by an iron spearhead. He desperately tried to protect Aedes, even withdrawing him from the army. Yet, fate intervened through Adrastus, a Phrygian exile purified by Croesus. During a boar hunt, Adrastus accidentally killed Aedes, fulfilling the ominous dream. Overwhelmed by guilt, Adrastus took his own life. Later, contemplating war with the rising power of Persia, Croesus consulted the Oracle of Delphi. The cryptic response promised that if he attacked, he would destroy a great empire. Misinterpreting this as a guarantee of Persian defeat, Croesus launched his campaign. He was decisively defeated and captured by Cyrus, the king of Persia. As he was about to be burned alive, Croesus remembered Solon's words about the fleeting nature of happiness. He cried out Solon's name, prompting Cyrus to spare him. Apollo's intervention, in the form of a sudden rainstorm, further confirmed his salvation. Croesus then became a trusted advisor to Cyrus, his life a testament to Solon's profound wisdom. The Persians, as Herodotus observed, held unique customs and beliefs. They built no temples or statues, preferring to worship on mountain peaks, honoring Zeus, Aphrodite, the sun, moon, earth, fire, water, and winds. Birthdays were celebrated with great feasts, and they were moderate eaters, though they loved wine. They believed important decisions should be made both sober and drunk, to ensure thorough consideration. Social greetings varied by hierarchy, ranging from kissing to prostration. The Persians readily adopted foreign cultures, incorporating Median clothes and Egyptian breastplates into their own. They valued bearing many sons and maintained a strict justice system, rarely executing for a single crime. Lies and debt were considered deeply shameful. They revered rivers and practiced unique burial customs, sometimes allowing bodies to be mauled by birds or dogs. Babylon, a city of wonders, captivated Herodotus with its majesty and vastness. Its formidable walls and the great Euphrates River were marvels of engineering. The Babylonians had distinct customs, including burying their dead in honey and relying on public advice rather than physicians. Some tribes were noted for their fish-eating habits. One of the most striking customs was the Babylonian marriage market. Women were auctioned off, with profits from the most beautiful subsidizing dowries for the less attractive. This ensured every woman had a chance at marriage. Cyrus's conquest of Babylon was a testament to his strategic genius. The Babylonians, prepared for a long siege, mocked Cyrus from their impregnable walls. Cyrus, angered by a drowned horse in the Gens River, exacted revenge by diverting its waters into 360 channels. He then strategically diverted the Euphrates River itself, allowing his army to march into the city through the dry riverbed. Babylon fell, and Cyrus became the king of kings. Cyrus's reign, however, met a dramatic end at the hands of the Massagetæ, a fierce nomadic tribe. They were known for drinking horse milk, communal sex, ritualistic killing of the elderly, sun worship, and horse sacrifice. Queen Tamiris, their formidable ruler, rejected Cyrus's marriage proposal. Cyrus then set a trap, leaving a wine-laced banquet that intoxicated a portion of the Massagetæ army. He captured Spargopizes, Tamiris' son, who later committed suicide. Tamiris, enraged, vowed revenge. She defeated the Persian army, killed Cyrus, and decapitated him. Fulfilling her vow, she submerged his head in a wineskin filled with blood, declaring he had his fill. Egyptian beliefs and customs were a source of endless fascination for Herodotus. They claimed to be the oldest race, a notion tested by Psammetichus's experiment with infants and the word bekos. Their society inverted many Greek gender roles, with women engaging in retail and men weaving. Their urination and eating habits were also unique. Unlike the Greeks, they had no female priestesses, and their priests shaved their heads. Mourning rituals were elaborate, especially for cats and dogs. Circumcision was practiced, and their writing flowed from right to left. Cleanliness was valued above appearance, with bronze cups and cloaks being common. Herodotus noted religious parallels, equating Osiris with Dionysus. Priests maintained strict routines and enjoyed benefits like free food, but were forbidden from eating fish or beans. Animal worship was central to Egyptian religion. Pigs were considered unclean, except during Osiris worship. Goats and cats were highly revered, with Pan associated with goats, and elaborate mourning rituals for deceased cats and dogs. Mummification extended to various animals, reflecting their sacred status. Herodotus meticulously described 3 types of mummification processes, involving brain extraction, evisceration, natron drying, and wrapping. The Nile River was Egypt's undisputed lifeline, essential for its agriculture. Herodotus pondered the Nile's annual flooding and its source, rejecting the snowmelt theory in favor of the sun's evaporation. Elephantine was considered the entry point to Egypt, and a myth spoke of a bottomless pit there. Egypt, he famously declared, was truly a gift of the Nile. Herodotus also recounted the tale of King Rhampsinitus and the master thief. The king possessed an impenetrable treasure chamber, save for a secret entry. 2 brothers exploited this, stealing from the king. One brother was caught in a booby trap, and his sibling decapitated him to prevent identification. The king displayed the body on the city walls, but the surviving brother retrieved it using a wine trick on the guards. The king's daughter was then used to trap the thief, but he escaped by using a fake arm. Impressed by his cleverness, the king pardoned the thief and allowed him to marry his daughter. The pyramids, particularly Khufu's Great Pyramid of Giza, symbolized the oppressive nature of some pharaohs. Its construction took 10 years for the causeway and 20 years for the pyramid itself, employing 100,000 men in shifts at immense cost. Herodotus also described the labyrinth of Crocodilopolis, a complex structure with 3,000 rooms on 2 levels, intricate passages, and a pyramid at its end. Lake Moeris, an artificial lake, featured two pyramids in its center. Cambyses' Egyptian campaign was fraught with missteps and escalating madness. Amasis, the Egyptian king, made errors, sending an eye doctor to Cambyses and tricking him with another's daughter. Fans of Halicarnassus, a Greek mercenary, defected to Cambyses, advising him on the invasion route. The Arabian king granted passage through the desert. Psammetichus III inherited the war, and the sons of Fans were ritually killed in retaliation. Memphis fell, and Cambyses exacted brutal revenge for a Mytilenean ship incident. Psammetichus III committed suicide, and Amasis' corpse was desecrated through flogging and burning. Cambyses' madness deepened with each event. His Ethiopian campaign failed due to lack of supplies and cannibalism among his troops. He misinterpreted the Apis bull festival as mockery, wounding the sacred bull. Driven by jealousy and a dream, he ordered the execution of his brother Smerdis. He married and killed his sisters, and in a desperate attempt to prove his sanity, shot Prexaspes' son through the heart. Cambyses ultimately died from a self-inflicted thigh wound, fulfilling a prophecy related to the Apis bull. Following Cambyses' death, two Magi brothers, Patizithes and Smerdis, usurped the throne using a fake Smerdis. Otanes, a Persian nobleman, discovered the deception through his daughter Phidimia, who noticed the impostor lacked ears. Darius and 6 other noblemen then conspired to overthrow the Magi. Prexaspes, who had killed the real Smerdis on Cambyses' orders, confessed his role, exposed the Magi, and then committed suicide. Darius was subsequently crowned king of the Achaemenid Empire. Darius organized his vast empire into 20 districts, extending his reach to India and Arabia. Indian tribes were diverse, some nomadic, and the Padaya were noted for their cannibalistic rituals, killing the sick and old. Another tribe, however, refrained from killing. Herodotus described gold-digging ants, possibly Himalayan marmots, and the ingenious methods Indians used to collect the gold. Arabia yielded precious spices, frankincense, myrrh, cassia, cinnamon, and rock rose resin. Herodotus detailed the dangerous methods of collecting these, often involving fierce animals. Darius's rule was marked by both consolidation and conflict. Interfernes challenged Darius's authority, leading to the execution of him and his male relatives. A significant Babylonian revolt erupted, with the inhabitants strangling their women to conserve supplies during the siege. Darius's siege was prolonged until Zopyrus, a Persian nobleman, self-mutilated and cunningly infiltrated Babylon, pretending to be a defector. His plan succeeded, leading to the fall of Babylon once more. Darius destroyed its walls, executed 3,000 citizens, and repopulated the city with women from neighboring regions. Zopyrus was honored as a hero for his sacrifice. The Scythians, a nomadic and fierce people, presented a formidable challenge. Their origins were traced to descendants of Heracles, and they had a history of enslaving Medians. Their customs included blinding slaves and using horsewhips against revolting slaves. Their religious practices centered on Hestia, Zeus, and Earth, with no statues except for Ares, and horse sacrifices were common. Scythian war customs were brutal, drinking victims' blood, scalping enemies, using skulls as cups, and engaging in duels to the death. Darius's failed Scythian campaign in 513 BC was an attempt to avenge the Median enslavement. Ionian Greeks built a bridge over the Danube for his army. The Scythians employed guerrilla warfare, luring the Persians deeper into their territory and avoiding direct confrontation. Idanthus, the Scythian king, refused to fight unless Darius desecrated their ancestral graves. Darius was forced to retreat, his army decimated. The Ionian Greeks, led by Histiaeus, saved the bridge, allowing the Persian remnants to escape. The Scythians, however, scorned the Greeks as the worst and most cowardly free people. Libya, too, held diverse tribes and exotic wildlife. The Automolochi adopted Egyptian customs but wore Libyan attire and had unique marriage rituals. The Makles and Auses, near Lake Tritonis, had distinct hair customs, celebrated an Athena festival, and practiced a promiscuous lifestyle, determining paternity by a child's resemblance to a man. The Maxis cultivated land, shaved their heads, and used ochre. Herodotus also described exotic wildlife, including enormous snakes, lions, elephants, and mythical dog-headed and headless creatures. Megabazus, a Persian general, continued Darius's expansion, subjugating Greek cities in the Hellespont, the Paeonians, and Thrace. Macedonian king Amyntas offered earth and water to Darius, symbolizing submission. However, Amyntas's son, Alexander, killed Persian delegates who mistreated Macedonian women, foreshadowing future conflicts. Histiaeus, a tyrant of Miletus, had fortified Myrsinus, prompting Megabazus to warn Darius of his ambition. Histiaeus was summoned to Darius's court, effectively becoming a prisoner. Aristagoras, Histiaeus's son-in-law, then failed in a conquest of Naxos. The Ionian revolt was initiated either by Aristagoras's fear of Persian reprisal or by a secret message from Histiaeus. Athens sent 20 ships to aid the revolt, and Sardis, a Persian capital, was burned. This act ignited Darius's fury. He vowed revenge on Athens, setting in motion the events that would lead to the Greco-Persian Wars. Darius swiftly crushed the Ionian cities, and Aristagoras fled, while Histiaeus was eventually killed. Mardonius, Darius's general, launched a campaign against Athens, but a storm at Mount Athos destroyed his fleet. The Battle of Marathon followed, where Miltiades led the Athenians. Their disciplined hoplites launched a surprise attack, securing a decisive Greek victory. 6,400 Persians fell, compared to only 192 Greeks. Darius renewed preparations for revenge, but Egypt revolted, delaying his plans. Darius died before he could launch his invasion, and his son Xerxes succeeded him. Xerxes was initially hesitant but was convinced by Mardonius to pursue the war. The Battle of Thermopylae saw a united Greek front, led by Leonidas and his 300 Spartans, defending a narrow pass. Leonidas's defiant words, "Come and take them," echoed through history. For 3 days, they held the pass, buying crucial time for the other Greek forces. Ephialtes' betrayal, revealing a secret mountain path, led to the Greek encirclement. Leonidas and his 300 Spartans fought to the death, their sacrifice becoming legendary. At the same time, the Battle of Artemisium saw the Greek fleet, under Eurybiades and Themistocles, hold off the Persians. A storm destroyed many Persian ships, further aiding the Greeks. Themistocles then orchestrated the evacuation of Athens to Salamis, ensuring the safety of its families. The Battle of Salamis was a strategic masterpiece. Themistocles' plan utilized the narrow straits to negate the Persian numerical advantage. The Greeks achieved a decisive naval victory, turning the tide of the war. The Battle of Plataea followed, with Mardonius occupying Athens. A Greek alliance, led by Pausanias, confronted the Persians at Plataea. The Greek hoplite phalanx withstood repeated Persian attacks, and Mardonius was killed. This marked a decisive Greek land victory, routing the Persian forces. Finally, the Battle of Mycale saw the Greek fleet, under Leotychides, defeat the remaining Persian navy. By 479 BC, the Persian threat on mainland Greece was effectively ended. Xerxes met a violent end in 465 BC, when Herodotus was approximately 19 years old. Herodotus himself participated in an uprising against the tyrant Lygdames in Halicarnassus around 454 BCE. He later joined the colony at Thurii in 450 BCE, where he dedicated himself to writing the histories. His meticulous research and narrative style profoundly influenced subsequent historians, including Thucydides. Herodotus solidified his title as the father of history through his groundbreaking work. He died sometime between 425 and 413 BCE, leaving behind an unparalleled account of the ancient world.